Aloha Vinaka and welcome to Talk Business, and to all our viewers who are joining us from around the region via Sky Pacific, welcome to the show. Now this week on Talk Business, we pay tribute to our local carrier as it enters a new era in domestic aviation history. Pacific Sun is now known as Fiji Link, and a new aircraft, an ATR 72600, has heralded in the name change. Join us as we follow the domestic carrier's history. It's a historic moment in Fiji's domestic aviation history. A brand new aircraft added to its fleet could only mean endless opportunities for growth. In its short 7-year history, the domestic carrier has witnessed a series of turbulence, but it has also grown. Despite the financial losses earlier on, today Fiji Link is on good footing.
Tremendous effort by everyone, and it just means so much, not just for the people at Pacific Sun, soon to be Fiji Link, but also for the traveling public. I mean, we're just getting better every day. 3 years ago, who thought that we would be taking delivery of aircraft? That's when I started with Pacific Sun. The idea was to get the structure internally organized and, in a place where we wanted it to, and then move forward with the aircraft. So this is the first of, a few more to see.
And the celebrations were a fitting tribute to the historic event. The movers and shakers from industries across the board were present to usher in the new aircraft. The man that has been steering the national carrier in a new direction and credited for its turnaround success says, the new aircraft is a reflection of what truly defines Fiji.
What we try to do, we try to grow the network in the South Pacific, we try to grow the network in domestic, and then we try to grow the international network. So we need to increase the capacity, increase the number of aircraft at Fiji Link, and we also need to increase the number of aircraft at Fiji Airways, and all together will grow the network, which means we have more opportunities for people to travel in the South Pacific, and we have more opportunities for tourists to come and enjoy Fiji and enjoy the whole region.
And it's not just merely about an upgrading fleet, but something more that goes to the heart of the airline's existence.
Well, look, we were initially running Pacific Sun, which was operating since 2007, and then we rebranded Pacific Airways into Fiji Airways. And then we thought, well, that's the time now to bring Pacific Sun closer to the family, and then we decided to give the same family name, which is Fiji, so it's Fiji Link and Fiji Airways is daughter and mother.
The idea of the strategic plan is to ensure that there is a commercial and financial viability of the airline. Sometimes we do tend to get carried away about the superficial things, but the fundamentals of running an national airline must be correct. The whole idea of also the rebranding, which will be launched this evening, is to show that connectivity between Fiji Airways and formerly Pacific Sun, now Fiji Link. Because there's no point, for example, somebody arriving from LA or Hong Kong, Sydney, and they are carrying, for example, 30 kilograms of luggage. But then Pacific Sun says, no, we only allow 15. So that whole Fijian experience suddenly, gets washed away. So this is building the linkage, and I think Fiji Link is a good name.
Which is why government says investing in an airline is investing in a country's economy. The spillover effects are tremendous, especially in relation to job creation.
So the direct impact on job growth. Because by bigger aircraft, you need more crew, they need to hire more people. If you have stability in the civil aviation industry, you'd also have a lot of ancillary spillover effects. So for example, if Nassori becomes more of a hub, there's more demand for taxis, there's more demand for tourist type items or cultural shows, etc. all ties in well. It creates a lot of jobs. But we are, as you know, through CAF and also AFL, adhering to ICAO standards. The adherence to those standards means that Fiji then also becomes a potential site or potential location for looking at best international practices. So people come over for training. Even our own people get hired, as you know, that a lot of people have been poached by Papua New Guinea. And with globalization, of course, it's good too in a way. We don't want to lose all our people, but they go there, they earn perhaps in some instances higher salaries, but they can only do 2-3 stints. They're able to bring back that money and invest in Fiji, buy their own home. So we have to look at the long-term picture, big vision.
Overall, I think with the new aircraft, we will have job increases at Fiji Link in the 5 years of about 22-23%.
Now, running an airline in a competitive environment is hardly easy. Coupled with increasing fuel costs and overheads, and the task becomes a lot more difficult. But the domestic carrier has pulled through.
I give full credit to my team, the pilots, the cabin crew, the ground staff, not just here in Suva or Nandi, but also out in the outer islands. They work really hard. And when you look at what's happened in the last 3 years in terms of our on-time performance and reliability, I think it's just great to see how everyone's come together because they want to make it a success. So it makes my job a lot easier. When people become part of a team and they have their own agenda and they all have KPIs to meet, so everyone strives and I think that's what's brought us here today.
Captain Manu Rajappa has been flying planes for 15 years now and has been on the journey with the domestic carrier since its inception. He reckons the ATRs are special in their own right.
This is the 72-600, which is the latest version of the ATR, which I would say it's very automated. It's got a lot of modern technology in the aircraft, which I would say reduces pilot workload and also makes it very safe to fly.
What the new ATR 72-600 will ensure is expansion of the airline throughout the region. This would mean increased frequencies to existing destinations and possibly new routes too. It places the domestic carrier in an ideal situation to become a dominant player in the region.
There's good margins to be made in regional flying, and there's obviously a demand for it. It also, for example, by having ATR 72 is a lot more fuel efficient. Two things. It helps free up the 737s so they can do Sydney, Brisbane, indeed Melbourne and Auckland. And so it's a lot more fuel efficient to fly those to longer destinations and then have the ATR 72s do the Vanuatu's, the Solomon Islands and Tonga and Apia. So that's obviously one positive. The other issue, of course, is really critical is Fiji Airways through Fiji Link will have the presence in the region. So we become, I don't like to use the word dominant, but we have a very good presence in the Pacific. Also, it has a spillover effect of Fiji Airways. You say, for example, a Samoan who may want to travel to Europe or may want to travel to Asia. He or she will say, hang on, there's a direct flight from Apia to Nandi, and there's a direct flight from Nandi to Hong Kong. There's a direct flight to Sydney, and I can connect to Middle East, whatever it is. Or I can go to Hong Kong and connect to Europe. So we become more of a hub. So at the moment, they may be going to Auckland and catching a New Zealand. This way, they're able to catch Fiji Airways.
With the 72, it gives you a bit more flexibility. We can actually now fly to a few more destinations, like you just mentioned, Apia, with more seats and of course with better payload, and which also makes a better business sense for the airline.
Cockpit of the ATR 72-600, the new aircraft for Fiji Link. Please tell us What's so amazing about this aircraft?
Well, for us, very amazing is that we have 68 seats, which is a much higher earning capacity than with the old ADR 42-500. We will also introduce a business class on the international flights. It has all new seats. It has also here in the cockpit a more 737-like feature, so it is much more easy for the pilots to fly. And we have of course, a longer operating range, which means with this kind of aircraft, we can also fly on some routes which are now flown by 737 aircraft, which means this aircraft now will replace not only ADR 500, but also 737 flying, which frees up capacity for the 737s to fly to more destinations or more frequencies to Australia and New Zealand.
So the first regional flight for this ATR is to Apia, I understand?
Well, next week we'll start Suva Apia twice weekly, and we'll also fly to Nadi, of course, the domestic flight, and we'll fly to Vila. So we have a lot of excitement announcement to come with this new aircraft. And the good thing is that we get another of these new aircraft, the ADR 472, this year in November.
Okay, and so what can business and economy class passengers expect on the ATR?
Oh, now you ask me a question which is very interesting, because we are about to announce a completely refurbished onboard product. So just bear with us for a couple of days, and then we'll announce what we changed on board in terms of food, infant entertainment, onboard magazine, duty free, etc., etc. A whole heap of news to come, but we don't talk about it now.
This also includes the ATR?
This includes everything international and domestic.
Wow, amazing. So as we can see, I mean, the cockpit, this is where the pilots are, and then this is the first time the ATR actually has a business class.
Yes, well, because we have more capacity, I said 68 seats, so we have the opportunity now to do business class. And we want also to harmonize our product, which means internationally we want to offer business class. So now as this aircraft flies internationally, we offer business class, which means on domestic services, Nandi, Suva, we will not have business class on this one and not business class on the other aircraft, but internationally, business class is standard, and this does international flying.
Right, and there's more legroom, I understand.
Of course there's more legroom. We have 32 inches legroom, which is pretty good, because the standard size economy class around the airlines is about 31. It's between 30 and 32, so we are on the upper level.
And so why an ATR 72600? Why an ATR?
Oh, look, it is basically because this is the most economically aircraft for the kind of network we fly. So what you try, you evaluate this kind of aircraft, what are the costs per trip, what are the costs per passengers, what are the earnings possible, which is number of seats, and then you make the bloody business case. And with the business case, then you compare, and then we got to this aircraft at the best fit for our network.
So have you actually flown one of these?
No, I'm just a little manager. I know numbers, but that's all.
Awesome. So there's great times ahead for Fiji Link
Thank you.
and Fiji Airways, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the future is bright, and I said to the audience earlier that some of us just need to wear dark glasses because the future is so bright, and it is bright. We just have to make sure that we do one step after the other. We can't screw it up, and we need to learn lessons about the things we have done, what can we do better, learn from mistakes, and we take it step by step by step. Don't announce anything prematurely, but just look at the results, then we do it rightly. That's a little bit conservative, but it's more safe. And we build this airline, not for today. We don't build it for this fiscal year. We build this airline for the future, for generations after ours to come. So we're responsible for that. We're responsible to create something which is sustainable long term.
The historic achievement for the domestic carrier is beyond just an addition to its fleet. Pacific Sun also rebranded into Fiji Link. Celebrations were in order at the capital city's Grand Old Lady last week as the airline ushered in a new era in domestic aviation. Fiji Link, they say, will have a special connection with the Fijian people.
First, of course, we will increase in our 5 years master plan our staff numbers by around 30%. then airlines tend to have a multiplier impact. So more jobs at Fiji Airways will create, more tourists will create more jobs in the tourism industries, in the hotels, in all these other businesses like income services, etc. will create more jobs in Fiji as an economy. So investing in aircraft is always investing in the economy. So as Fiji Airways grows, tourism will grow, employment will grow, and Fiji will grow as an economy.
I think the word link says it all. It's about people coming in from Sydney going to Mombasa. You say you can go from Sydney to Mombasa because it's a seamless connectivity now. People who, university students for that matter, who are going back home to Samoa, it's important for them to be able to get through. And you've got, for example, Tongan students or, people from going to Hawaii, coming back to Apia and then coming back to Nandi or to Suva. It's all sort of linking, the part. I mean, we've done the sort of the more regional and the trunk route domestics, and then our focus will be on the other domestic routes, the more sort of smaller airports and things like that. So yeah, it's ongoing, and I think the word link, like I said earlier on, says it all, and we're just going to try and connect all the dots and move people around seamlessly.
And it's also been the survival of the fittest. Where other domestic carriers have failed, Fiji Link has grown and dominated.
Fiji domestic is not something that sort of grows at a fast pace. The numbers don't increase overnight to the point where you can sustain so many more airlines. But we've actually not bothered about what's behind the competition, who's there. But we've got a strategy, we've got a 5-year plan, and we're just basically following that and looking forward and doing our own thing. And of course, having Fiji Airways always behind you there, and that's what we call the mothership for us. And so much support, so much help from the team at Fiji Airways that's made it possible for us. But at the same time, I think in the last 3 years we've developed a team that we think is the right team for Pacific Sun, or soon to be Fiji Link, and those are the people behind the success. And I always maintain it's the people that are always the ones who make an airline or any product or any business for that matter succeed.
But government acknowledges a little competition is healthy too.
The government is very keen to have competition also in the domestic airline. I know there have been one or two people who are giving sort of half-baked comments on there being a lack of competition in the domestic airline. But as you know, that we've already approved the license for the inter-island, airways. They're yet to come to the fore. Northern Air, of course, is there. We do offer subsidies to many of the major ports in Fiji. For example, Rotuba Island in the Lau Group, in Kandavu, Lomaiviti, we actually pay a subsidy for these airlines to actually fly there. Northern Air, including Fiji Link, obviously bid for this to ensure that we keep the cost down to these destinations.
Around 35% of Fiji's GDP is credited to our tourism sector, which heavily relies on the national carrier to do its bit in bringing in our visitors. If the national carrier grows, so too does the economy.
The national carrier drives the tourism industry because it provides sustainable traffic. Sometimes if you open up the market and have international carriers come in, they pick and choose. They fly in the high season, the low season they don't fly, and the hotels stay empty. So the smartest way for any country, for any island economy, is to help to develop the national carrier, because the national carrier is there today, tomorrow and after tomorrow, and it will provide not only jobs but tourists and traffic and connections for the whole time.
Which is why, with the growth of Fiji Link and other domestic routes, government is keen on expanding the Nassori airport to international standards.
After all, Nassori was linkage to the capital. You have your GPH now being built. We can now, Suva itself can indirectly or directly bid for more regional meetings, and the capital must have a direct linkage. By expansion of it, we can have more Sydney flights. So the spillover effects is quite important because, as you know, the bulk of the Fijian population lives between Nassori and Lemi. So a lot of people, for example, at the moment of flying to Dundee, they either catch Pacific Sun or Fiji Link, or they travel by road. Now, if you have more direct flights from Sydney to Suva, they don't have to travel long distances, so less wear and tear on the roads. So they are the types of things we are looking at.
And this ties in well with the airline's expansion plan too.
Our business is running pretty well, so we use the momentum now and we do the whole fleet rollover of the ATRs at Fiji Link right now this calendar year. Which means later this year we have another ATR 72 coming and another ATR 42-600, the newer version of the ATR 42, coming and joining the fleet of Fiji Link. So we have more aircraft at Fiji Link and we have aircraft with bigger capacity at Fiji Link.
We're looking at 2 more ATRs, brand new from the factory. And the next one we're looking at is 42. That's primarily for the domestic market, Nani Suva Lambasa. And then also we're looking at to add another 72 later this year. And that'll be a brand new aircraft as well.
So, with a new name and a new aircraft, the future certainly does look bright for Fiji Link, which the man at the helm of the airline says could only mean they're on the right track, or in airline vocabulary, the right tarmac.
I think we are on the right path right now as a company. I hope and I know that all our staff is highly motivated because we see the growth, we feel the growth, we work on the growth every day. So we are all excited and we hope that our excitement, our inspiration will transmit to the Fijian people, will transmit to our customers.
And that's the show for this week. We'd love to hear from you, so do send us an email, talkbusiness@fijitv.com.fj. Remember, you can catch me on the net on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page. And if you have a Twitter account, follow me at Rachana Fiji TV. Thank you for joining us. Do join us again at the same time next week. Until then, have a productive week.